Good evening, Internet, and welcome to the latest Top Shift. Now, today we are in Elite Dangerous Beta 2. 2.03 to be exact. It was released a couple of days ago, and it has gone through several bug fixes and hot patches. And you must admit, the guys at Frontier must be burning the midnight oil in order to get these things fixed. And to tell you the truth, it shows. The performance of the game has improved quite a lot over the last 24 hours. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I've got to thank Moist McTavish for stepping in and doing some updates on the Renan situation. He might be making an appearance later on in this cast. I don't know, roving reporter and all that. In other news, we've got the 30th year anniversary of the original game Elite. 30 years since it came out on the original BBC. And to celebrate that, for the last 10-11 days or so, Crash, Vigor, Fiery Toad and a few other people have been streaming practically constantly, so you've got to take the hats off to them. And I must admit, Crash, go get some sleep. You look knackered. Seriously, sleep is your friend. You're not a good pilot when you're tired. Trust me, I found that out last night. So, here we are, back in the Sidewinder. Yes, it's been a complete and utter wipe. The reason for this is that Frontier say that there was too many changes to the back-end database for an update to happen. And being in IT myself, I know it's easier just to wipe things clean and start again. On the upside, I'm now going to show you the new HUD. And here we have, straight away, I have a status, I have a rank. This is the kind of thing we have been after for absolutely ages. My rank is harmless, and there are 9 other ranks all the way up to elite. And every time you go up a rank, that little griffin in the center of the screen will actually become more prominent and have bits added to it. We have modules. Now there are a lot more modules, and I'll come to that in a second. Good old fire groups. Oh, we've got a basic discovery scanner. Now that I will discuss later. No cargo, and the usual plenty of functions. Cargo's scooped, distress beacon. Always very useful, the distress beacon. And I think actually I will reduce the brightness of the HUD because I think it's just being a little bit too light for me. And just a self-destruct option, which I'm not going to take, even though I am still in the basic Sidewinder. On the other side, we've got the usual navigation, missions, and contacts, as well as you'll have sub-targets and cargo whenever you target somebody else. Now, here you can see that I'm actually not docked to Azaban City anymore. We are docked to Azaban Orbital. Now, I'll show you that when I launch, but there's another more important thing to show you, and that is the system map. Before, we've all seen the galaxy map, which is this, as I like to call it, the total perspective vortex of space games. And before we had a nice circle here of about 80 systems, and they've now gone and extended this to what looks like a massive pill. That. Very, very impressive. Admittedly, just to show you the scale, that's 500 systems in there, but when you pull out, it is still an insignificant dot on an insignificant dot in the middle of that. Every single time I go into this map, you are just there thinking, how the heck did they manage to generate it? And in the distance you can see other galaxies. Now, trust me, we ain't going to be going there. I think 400 billion stars is enough to explore for the moment. Thank you very much. So here we are on the western spiral arm, unfashionable western spiral arm of the galaxy. And down here you can also see places like Sol. But I think the most important thing to show you today. Oh, hang on. We've got to actually find our system again. which is a bit of a pain. Galaxy map. Yeah. Okay guys, here's one that we could do with a reset function, taking you exactly to where you are. Is that where we are? Well, this is going to be a nightmare. Okay, let's try something else. So, if I select lock destination, go to the galaxy map, there we are. That's how you have to reset. There's an interesting thing to put in a bug report. So here we are at Iranin again. It seems to be the standard start point for everybody. Now, if we have a look here, that's not changed, but I can type in, and there is Sol, 43 light years away from us. Unfortunately, it's not got what I want to show you, which was a shame. So here we are. If I put the mouse pointer over the Iranin system, you have system view. You click on there and hey presto, the local system view of Iranin. Now, it goes into a lot of detail here, and it also looks very pretty. So you click on the sun, it gives you details about the sun. You click on the planet, it'll give you full details of the planet. Very, very nice. But then you can also see hanging off each of these planets is an indicator whether there's a station or an outpost. Now there we have the station of Azerbaijan City. Now as you can see here, it's an agricultural economy, independent communist state. As you can also see, it tells you what its major imports and exports are. Very, very useful to know. And on top of that, the prohibited list. Very, very useful to know. So that means if I turned up here with narcotics, slaves and toxic waste, say from Slough, and tried to sell it here, I'd have to go to either the black market and hope that the Vipers don't intercept me on the way in. Now, there's one very important thing to know, and that is it only seems to be at space stations you have a marketplace. At outposts, there doesn't seem to be any marketplace at all. But you can click on all the planets and it'll give you full details of all these planets as you go through. It does seem to be very, very detailed. And there's one of these for every every system that's available in the beta at the moment. All 500 of them. So that's the meta game, if you like. What's the nitty gritty? Well, there's more changes. Here is the new interface with the station. And as you can see, everything's gone and changed. On the right hand side you have the news feed. Now these news feeds are effectively what we were getting in emails every week. So you've got top 5 Iranian bounty hunters. Nothing there. Crime reports. And these things that are issued against you. Oh, here we are, traffic reports. So there's 43 Sidewinders, 9 Cobra Mark IIIs flying about. Now, one thing to point out is that everybody has been reset to a Sidewinder. And for 3 days, a lot of people have just been grinding like crazy. So, but you can see here, I've only got a balance of just over 6,000. That's mostly due to an unfortunate accident at Dahan space station, and at one of the combat zones, I decided to ram a Cobra instead of shooting it. Not advisable. And here's another thing that's very useful to know. Exploration. Now, exploration itself is a new thing they've put in. We don't know everything of those 500 systems that are in existence. So all ships are fitted with a scanner, and this scanner will read planets and systems data. That data can then be saved onto your ship, and then when you come back to a more civilized place, you can then sell that data to other people. You keep it yourself, by the way. The idea being, in the future, you'll be able to sell that information to the Federation or the Empire, or especially if it's got a whole lot of natural resources. So, yep. And also in the news feed, dependent on where you are, you'll get the local news from that point of view. So, because we're in Iranin and we've been covering the Civil War lately, we've got the Civil War here. Oh, hang on. There we are. Pro-Federation forces have rallied to the rebel cause in the Iranian system. And so on and so forth. So it gives it a lot more flavour. Basic medicines is obviously wanted here. And you can also see that a lot of the grain silos have been hit. So taking that information, you'll know that, well, if the grain silos have been hit, they're going to need feeding. So if I bring more grain in, surely that should be a lot of extra cash. Very useful, by the way. Got the usual standard menu down here with an enhanced bulletin board. Look at this. You've now got all these extra missions, and you can see who they come from as well. So if you complete one of these missions and successfully, then in this case the Independent Iranian Left Party, your reputation with them would increase. However, if it's in direct competition with, say, the Federal Bridge, then your reputation with them will decrease. Now that reputation is kept hidden from you. You don't know how good standing you are with all these different factions. That's brought over from Frontier, so it's good to see that being reused. We've got the usual contacts, so in this case we've got Pilots Federation. That's different from the Federation, that's you. So if you have attacked another player, that's where you'll have to pay your fine. Local Security Office, outstanding fines for local offences or locally gained bounties. Combat Bond Office. Now that is when you're involved in conflict zones and you've chosen a side. That's where you reclaim your vouchers. And obviously the black market. I want to sell illegal goods. Well, hopefully they'll remove that black market and it'll be from certain options from the bulletin board, but we'll have to wait and see. And finally, a new thing that's come in. This is connected with the exploration, and this is the universal cartographics. This is where you can buy bits to your map so that you, when you go into a system, you're not left for dead and you don't have to explore it yourself. And as you can see, most of these systems are a lot further away than I've ever been before, because I don't think they were even in the premium beta. But now this is another biggie here, the outfitting. Now as I'm just starting, this is your typical double pulse laser. Oh, double pulse laser actually, because in the original you had a single pulse laser. But here you can see you've got a lot more equipment options, including how your power plant works, or your thrusters, your frameshift drive. Now each of these takes up tonnage of your ship, and on the right hand side you'll see how much tonnage you're using and how much it kind of balances out. So you could actually get rid of your shields. You could sell your shields, that should give you some more cargo capacity. But of course, without shields, chances are you ain't going to last very long in a scrap. So at the moment, I'm not going to muck about with that. I'm just going to keep with my standard loadout. But it's something to look at in the future. And one of the things that I do like they've put in your current, your unladen, and your laden jump range. So you know that this Sidewinder, if you fully fuel her up, and you have a laid down with cargo, it can only go just under 7 light years. Of course, you could buy a bigger fuel tank, which would give you greater range, but the chances are that would take away your cargo capacity. So, let's go and see how this new one flies. Oh, but there is one thing that I should admit to, and that is I may have gone and purchased a paint job. There we go. Yes, these are part of the microtransactions that you have been put into the game. Basically ship skins, and they vary in price. That one you just saw there was £2, which I think would be about $3. Personally, I've got no problem with these. It's not pay to win. All it is making your ship look that slightly bit different. And as long as it supports the game and keeps the game going, I've got no problem paying a small amount or buying a few additional add-ons as well. There are plans that they'll have, you know, things like furry dice falling down from on the screen, or different types of wobble heads and things like that. But the one thing that you should be aware of is that you will not be able to buy stronger weapons. Or better ships that way. Everything else is earned in game. Admittedly though, for the 30th anniversary there was a very rare skin for the Cobra Mark III, which made it look like the wireframe Cobra from the original game. Now, it was a tenner, and to be honest, I thought that was a bit steep, but I still bought it anyway. Damn you! Did you hear me? Damn you! I've got to have better willpower going forward. So, apart from that, I think we'll have to launch, and you'll be able to see the new enhancements that they've made, because, like I said, we are not in a space station. We are in an outpost. And look at that. There's the planet of Iranin, right ahead of us. I'll look up. What do you think of that? Oh,
Ship released.
and we're away. Let's take away that undercarriage. Full speed forward. Flight assist off. Spin round. Just to give everybody a look at and there is the outpost which we have just come from. Iranin orbital. Very pretty. And I must admit, I think this is the closest I've ever been to a planet before, and it does look so Earth-like. Look, you can see the continents there, and it does feel like you're just flying above the planet Earth. Well, when it's not planet Earth, to be honest. And I like the way they've got the atmospheric effects and the sunlight and all the stuff that goes with that. And there, in the distance, you can see the Milky Way. That's the centre of the galaxy. That's its brightest, will be the centre of the galaxy. Up ahead, oh, there's the one of the systems I selected. That's L294. But we're not wanting to go there. Where we're wanting to go is Azevan City. So we lock the destination, as per usual.
Drive charging. 4,
And off we go.
3, 2, 1, engage.
As you can see, they've gone and changed the jump effects. There we are. And some of the ranges. You can see that the scanner looks different. Behind me, the planet is red because I am obviously too close to it. So 20 million meters. Well, to be honest, that's 1,000 kilometers. So we will slowly get into range. Speed's right. Distance is right. Jump out. There we go. Now you'll also notice the cockpit is a lot darker. I think this is to give you a more feeling that you're actually in space. It's dark out there. It's lonely. And also I find it easier on the eyes, to be honest. But at the moment it is still a case of waiting for other people and the online process to work. Why did my shields go offline? It said my shields went offline. Oh, that's weird. Now there is a little bit of controversy in Beta 2. And that is that the flight model for flight assist off has been changed. A lot of people were able to boost, and that would take you up to maximum speed, and then hey presto, you could escape anything, especially if you're on a Viper. Oh hello, someone's got a hauler, and look at that, you can see now when I scan someone else, they've got their rating, their name, and whether or not they're wanted. Now I could actually just text him and say hello, so I think I will. Hello there. Wonder if you'll reply. So, Azerbaijan City. Let's go in for a dock. See what that we can. Request docking. Now it might be a bit difficult this one because Azkaban City is so close to the start point. Obviously it's everybody's first port of call. So let's try again. If I don't have any luck in a few minutes, then I will head away to another system and we'll start our little exploration from there. Or even better, I could go to the conflict zone and have a little bit of a zap. Yeah, clearance timed out. You docker, come on. Don't let me be dockered. In other news, yet Dockers episode 4 is out. That's all I'm saying on it. You can all go find out what Dockers is by yourself. I do not talk. The one rule I have about Dockers is that I do not talk about Dockers, except I just did. Typical. Oh, one more try. But I've also noticed there's an awful lot of canisters about here at the moment. But they're not canisters. There's these high energy FSD wakes. Now what I think those are hyperspace points. If you had the right amount of equipment, or the right equipment, you should be able to track where that person went and follow them through hyperspace. Now that's very useful if you're doing missions where you have to either follow somebody or track them. So I think what we'll do is we'll head to Dahan, because I like heading to Dahan. Mind you, it does have a tendency to blow you up. Dahan Station has a reputation for being the biggest griefer in the game, regardless of how anybody else says. And while we're waiting on that, we might have an appearance, or I might have a telecast from the Free Alliance Regional Telecast.
We interrupt your program to bring you a news flash. Top story this hour is the raid on the Bank of Zion. It appears that hackers have managed to infiltrate and destroy most accounts in the bank. This has led to mass repossessions of all pilots' ships. A spokesman for the bank says, "We deeply regret having to repossess everybody's ships. However, blah, ha ha, ha ha." The Elite Pilots Federation has stepped in and supplied all of its members with the standard Sidewinder as a replacement. In addition, they have been supplied with an emergency grant of 1,000 credits. Unfortunately, they have also been targeted as part of the same hack, and everybody's records have been wiped. As a further complementary measure, the Elite Pilots Federation has released navigational data for a further up to 500 systems. A spokesman for the Elite Pilots Federation said, "We are deeply sorry about this, and we hope it makes up for a past mistake. We hope it never happens again." In other news, the war of Iran seems to be continuing, with heavy fighting on the home planet of Iran itself. However, commanders at this moment in time do not care. See the first item of this bulletin. And finally, Lakon have released details of the new Asp Explorer, soon to be made available in reputable stores. The pilot community have reacted to this with great excitement, partly because it is an amazing ship by all accounts, but mostly because they can now say the lines, "Look at the Asp on that, nice Asp. This is Moise McTavish, Free Alliance Regional Telecast. Good night."
And welcome back. I've decided to go to a different way. We're going to iBooties, or I've been told how to pronounce it right, but I can never get it right. And we're going to sell some things here that are quite useful. But in the meantime, there's a couple of other things to. you can see there that the sun has been updated quite a lot. And iBooties itself, it's a long way from the sun. 1,500 light seconds. Anyway, I'm pleased to say that Lave Radio have asked for me to turn up on their podcast from time to time as a semi-regular member, so I'll be helping out there every now and again. Due to the fact that the game has beginning to gather pace, the guys over at Lave Radio feel that they need more people, more voices to help out with the amount of content that's going to be needed. Really excited. I've already episode 36, which happened before Beta 2 was released. That should be out now. It makes a change to be podcasting again after Retro Lave stopped for a while. It went on hiatus, I think the best phrase is. I do know at some point we'll be doing the Retro Lave about Frontier and First Encounters, so I'm looking forward to that. And as far as the Elite Fiction is concerned, well, I'm now reading And Hear the Wheel by John Harper. I think I'm about halfway through at the moment. It's an interesting take on the secret society motif that was part in the original Dark Wheel novel you got with the Elite game. And to tell you the truth, I'm interested to see where it all ends up. As someone who is Scottish, and then hearing that we've got this character, Robert the Bruce, or Robert, who's always refers to as the Bruce. It is quite amusing to see all these cultural references come from the other side of the planet. But I do have to announce a competition. Dan Grubb, the head of Fantastic Books, has supplied me with an extra paperback copy of Tales of the Frontier. Now, I am willing to send this to anybody in the world who's able to get a screenshot of me in any of my ships. So if you see me, say in the next week or so, in game, and you get a screenshot, post it in the comments below, or post a link in the comments below, and the first person to do so wins the book, and I'll send it out. The Tales of the Frontier is a fantastic anthology, I must admit. Very jealous that I missed out on it. But congratulations to everybody who took part, because the stories in it are really exciting, and it's one I'd thoroughly recommend. Right. I'm getting a little lost here, I think. And I'm afraid I think I'll have to call it a night. So we'll let the ship dock at Abutis, and then you can see in the background the galaxy, the new render of the planet, which is always good. I've got some docking permission as soon as I get the clearance. You see, I'm testing out the new flight assist model. Actually, a new poll has just gone up, asking people for people's evaluation of what the new flight model's like. I don't think there's any argument that the flight assist on is pretty spot on. There just seems to be a lot of argument about the flight assist off, and well, I've got my own opinion on it, but to be honest, it's fine as it is. I thought the new version was fine as it is. I just don't want people running away and boosting away if you're in a Viper. Docking Bay 36. Nice and easy.
Docking successful.
And there we have it. Well, at this point, I will wish you all good night, and see you next time. Thank you.